Hey, Jason here. Today I want to talk about a mental model, for lack of a better term, called investment in loss. What is that? I'm listening or re-listening to one of my favorite books ever, The Art of Learning, An Inner Journey to Optimal Performance by Josh Waitzkin. I'll do a mini review of this at some point, but once I finish it again. But once I read or learn anything, I typically, if it's kind of profound and I found value in it, I listen to it again at some point. I listened to this book the first time, I think last year or the year before, and immediately loved it. Why? As a value investor, entrepreneur, real estate agent, all these things kind of rolled into one, business owner with a growing team, person with severe health issues in the past that I still have to deal with on occasion and work around. I've had to, over the years, mainly because of my health issues, I've had to learn how to learn better. So anytime I kind of get the chance to learn better, learn more efficiently, learn faster, I jump at the chance. And I first heard about this book, The Art of Learning, I believe it was from Tim Ferriss. And Tim Ferriss, if I remember correctly, it is not only recommended this book highly and bought the audiobook rights to it and publishes the audiobook rights on Audible. That's how much he loves this book. But him and Josh Waitzkin have become great friends. Because of my health issues, I wasn't able to go to college. You might know, if you've been watching this for a while or reading the blog for a while, I wasn't able to go to college due to severe health issues, specifically severe dizziness that I still deal with on a reasonably consistent basis. For the most part, it's under control now, unless I move my head a lot, I'm in large crowds, I can't work out or run or do any of that kind of stuff. If I do anything like that, I get really dizzy, or if I'm sick, I get really dizzy, stuff like that. But for the most part, it's now under control. But because of these long-term severe health issues that started now almost 14 years ago, as of this recording, I've lost literally years of time due to not being able to do anything. When I was at my worst, I could literally do nothing except for 30 minutes a day, watch TV. If I watched any more TV than that, I would get to the point where I would feel miserable, and miserable for me was either throwing up, feeling like I'm going to throw up, feeling like my entire body was moving while I wasn't. That's kind of when I was at my worst. But even then, I've always loved learning. I didn't necessarily like school too much, formal school, just because I'm more of a very practical person. And I like to learn things that are going to help me throughout my entire life, not just facts and numbers and theorems and stuff I'm never going to use again. So I didn't really like school too much. I spent more time chasing girls and playing sports and hanging out with my friends than I did actually learning in school. But I've always loved learning. So when I kind of got into value investing while I was still dealing with my severe dizziness, I knew that because of my inability to do more at that time for any longer than 30 minutes at a time, I had to become more efficient at learning and learn how to learn better. So I've spent an enormous amount of time learning how to learn more efficiently and better over the years, and I still continue that to this day. And almost every week I get at least one question, something along the lines of, how do you learn so fast? And one of the ways is because I've spent the time to learn more efficiently and to learn how to learn better and kind of all the things that go into this. And that's where this book, The Art of Learning, comes in. And the topic we're talking about today, after that kind of intro to this, is investment and loss. Investment in loss essentially means you have to be willing to change your mindset. You have to be willing to, if any time you're trying to learn a new skill, the example is that he uses, Josh Waitzkin uses, is Tai Chi Chuan, martial arts, kind of meditative practice art, I guess. I'm not really sure how to describe it because I've never done it. But anytime you learn a new skill, you have to be, the way I would put it in my terminology, investment is loss, is you have to be willing to fail. Even my own team members, they ask me how I learn so fast and how they can learn better and more efficiently and stuff like that. And I just say the kind of thing, without going into huge amount of depth that would take hours and hours, because again, I've been learning about how to learn more efficiently and better for years now, is the number one thing I kind of tell everybody, at least as a kind of initial step, you have to be willing to fail, and you have to be willing to continue to push forward in the face of failure. For example, a more recent example of mine where this came into practice, I got hired by a firm in New York City. They, multimillionaire businessmen, hired me to work on their marketing. I have a brief knowledge, at that point I had brief knowledge of marketing kind of processes and knew the kind of basic terminology of marketing, stuff like that, and basically what it was. But I didn't know how to actually implement marketing processes, do any kind of Facebook marketing, and didn't know much about how to implement analytics and kind of the back-end integration stuff. Didn't know how to integrate custom conversions and events and all the back-end kind of email stuff, relinking lists and CRMs and automations and all that kind of stuff. The main reason they told me they hired me is because, hey, they love my work, they love my work ethic, stuff like that, and how dedicated I am to pretty much everything I do. I've worked with them in the past. This is how they know all this. And B, because of my ability to learn and adapt to things quickly. What that means is that within 3 months, I went from pretty much zero marketing knowledge to doing stuff. I was told by another, actually pretty, I don't know if famous is the right word, but pretty well world renowned Facebook and internet marketer who's worked with companies doing hundreds of millions of dollars business, that I was doing stuff after 3 months that people with 2.5, 3 years of knowledge were doing. Why do I say that? I'm not saying that to brag. I'm not saying that to. I'm saying that to say that once the skill of learning how to learn things fast is, to me, and obviously I'm biased because I love to learn and I'm very good at learning fast after spending a lot of time figuring out how to do it, to me it's an invaluable skill, is learning how to learning things and valuable skills fast is an invaluable skill. And that goes back to the investment and loss. Essentially, his wording is, when he and Josh Waitzkin, he was the inspiration behind his dad's book, Searching for Bobby Fischer. He was a world champion chess player who turned himself into a world champion Tai Chi Chuan martial artist. So this guy obviously knows a lot about learning. He knows how to learn, take new skills, learn them fast or reasonably fast, and then become literally world class at them. And his kind of theory of investment is loss, and I'm in the chapter right now. In the audiobook, it's chapter 11 or 12. It says 12 on my thing, but I'm pretty sure he said 11. Investment and loss. Essentially, you have to be willing to fail to learn faster. His specific example was he was getting pushed around by smaller guys. At one point, he's a pretty athletic guy. Said he played sports and stuff growing up, along with being in chess and being kind of having a mental athleticism to do that kind of thing. But his example was when he first went to Tai Chi Chuan, he would get pushed around by these little tiny guys, and he didn't know what the hell was going on at first, but he was willing, because of his experiences in chess and learning there and his personal kind of life experiences, he was willing to change his mindsets, fail so that he could learn more from his failure, so that at some point he could become better at the art, at the martial art. You have to be willing to do the same thing if you want to learn any skill, but it's particularly if you want to learn a valuable skill fast. Investment and loss is, or in my wording, dealing and accepting and pushing through failure on a constant basis. It's necessary to learn anything, any valuable skill, especially if you want to learn it fast and jumpstart your kind of, if you want to rocket your growth and learning and abilities and knowledge and skill sets, you have to fail. Have to fail. Does it suck? Yes, it's not fun. Failure sucks. Losing sucks. It's not fun. Even though I've been doing this for years and learning how to learn better and know it's coming, it still sucks. It's still not fun. So I'm going to warn you right now, it's not going to be a fun process. You're not going to like it. But if you do like it, that's probably how you know you're not learning that fast. Another thing I recommend people to do, especially in the kind of finance and value investing realm, is that to learn faster, one of the things I did that helped skyrocket my learning faster in value investing and finance is I started a blog. Well before I was ready, because you'll never be ready for anything if you wait until you're actually ready, whatever that means. You just got to start doing it. I started a blog, or I started the Value Investing Journey blog in the first place to kind of be a personal journal, so I could look back years from now to see from where I came from, how much I learned, all that kind of stuff. It quickly kind of transformed into, and I didn't know this at the time, me getting feedback from people. Some of it, people being trolls. You just ignore those people. It sucks. Yeah, I don't know what else to tell you other than how to deal with those people, other than it sucks and you just gotta ignore them as best as you can. And then from the actual constructive criticism, for example, I remember one conversation I had with, I think it was Red from the Red Corner blog. I posted an article, I believe it was about Jack in the Box, comparing it to another fast food chain. No, it was my Jack in the Box article. I was kind of doing a comparison. I believe it was SumZero, some person who won some competition for SumZero, and they got to give us some kind of presentation. And their analysis article was about Jack in the Box. Red from the Red Corner blog. If you don't know who they are, fantastic blog. Learned a ton from it. Highly recommend you go there, by the way, before I go any further. But he, if I remember correctly, he commented on my post and said, "This is a fantastic post," and I think it's something along the lines of, "This fantastic post, and it's better than the professionals," in his opinion. But I didn't talk about debt at all in the article, if I remember correctly. I think that was the criticism. Something along those lines. There was something major that I missed that I didn't talk about. And this was pretty early in the blog, and it was pretty early after I started doing real world kind of analysis. I was like, oh shit. I missed a gigantic, obviously, almost every company in the world has debt or some kind of long-term obligation. So I was like, oh shit, that's a major problem if I didn't talk about debt. And then I kind of did the article, researched debt equivalents, long-term obligations, all those kind of things as much as I could. Reanalyzed Jack in the Box, released or put that information into the article, and the article was a million times better. You have to be willing to put yourself out there, lose, and that's a big loss. That's a big public loss on my blog, that I had this pretty good article and I didn't even talk about debt. Again, yeah, I was pretty much starting out at that time. But again, the reason I was doing that at that time was so I could learn faster. If I wouldn't have posted those articles or that article to that blog, I might not have learned about debt for another year, another 5 years. I don't know. Maybe I would have never gotten kind of the in-depth knowledge I have about debt now. I still wouldn't have it, maybe. You never know. But you have to be willing to put yourself out there. So another thing I recommend people do, especially in the finance and value investing arena, if they want to learn faster, start a blog, put your articles on places like Seeking Alpha or Guru Focus, Insider Monkey, whatever other sites are out there. whatever other public kind of forums are out there to get your information out there. Get feedback from the people who are giving you constructive feedback. Ignore the trolls, and you will improve immensely. Before I started Value Investing Journey blog, almost 6-7 years ago now, I think it was the summer, 6-7 years now, June 2012, so was it 6 years? Almost 6 years now. I was terrible. I was a shitty investor, shitty finance person, and then again, that helped me jump into kind of my knowledge, skill set improvement into light speed. But you have to be willing to invest in loss. You have to be willing to learn from your mistakes. If you're not, you'll continue making the same mistakes over and over and over again. If you are willing to learn from your mistakes, your knowledge, skill sets, and value, and more important, value to kind of the marketplace, your work, your job, your career, whatever it is, will skyrocket fast. Again, does it suck? Does this process suck going through it? Yes. But if you want to learn any skill, and you want to learn any skill fast, those are kind of the two major tips I tell everybody. You have to be willing to fail, and you need to put yourself out there in a kind of a public forum to fail. Get feedback, repeat the process, or change your mindset, change your processes, repeat the process, fail, get the feedback, change your processes, mindset, fail, and then repeat all that process over and over again. That's how you learn any skill. Again, if you take the time to invest not only in actually learning, but learning how to learn better, not only will you become more valuable to yourself and gain a lot of self-confidence because of the skills and knowledge you have, but you'll become more valuable to the world. You become more valuable to your company. You're more valuable to your companies if you run companies, your own companies. You're able to be more valuable to your spouse or significant other. Be more valuable to your kids, your community. I'm of the belief now, I'm to the point now in my kind of thinking about learning, is that I think pretty much, especially with the internet, access to smartphones, which I'm taking on right now, that there is almost no excuse for people not to be willing to learn or not have a valuable skill set. You can learn if you have internet access, or you can get internet access via a public library or whatever in your country. If you're watching this from outside the United States, your kind of equivalent of a public library or internet shop is, you have almost zero excuse anymore to learn any valuable skill. And the importance of valuable skills in the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years is going to be ultra important, because jobs are going to be lost due to automation and robots, stuff like that. So again, to kind of recap, investment and loss, have to be willing to fail, and you have to be willing to put yourself out there. Kind of getting back to the beginning of this story, is I went from zero marketing knowledge to running marketing for these guys worth tens of millions of dollars, or businesses worth tens of millions of dollars, running their entire marketing operations, setting their entire marketing funnels up, all the integrations, all the back end CRM stuff, all the list building, all the Facebook ads, everything, doing pretty much all the marketing purposes. From 0 to 3 months, I was doing stuff according to a Facebook expert and marketing expert that people 2.5, 3 years of experience do. And now my brother and I have started a marketing agency to go along with our other businesses. So if you know how to learn, and you know how to learn fast and efficiently, you can be hired specifically for your ability to learn, because I've been hired multiple times for my ability to learn and adapt and learn valuable those skills fast. So I highly recommend you learning how to learn better. I highly recommend learning how to deal with failure better. Highly recommend putting yourself out there more, And especially if you want to learn, that's the best way to learn anything, or just, in my opinion, do anything in life, is to put yourself out there. I have a saying that I tell a lot of people, is that when in doubt, kiss the girl. Essentially, if you want to do something, go for it. The worst somebody can say is no. If the girl says no, okay, that sucks, bruise to the ego, but at least you tried. If you don't try, you're never going to get the opportunity. Put yourself out there, put your resumes out there, put your stuff on LinkedIn, put your stuff on a blog, put your stuff on a website, whatever it is, put yourself out there. When in doubt, kiss the girl. Put in your job application, even if you feel like you're not qualified. Push for that promotion. Apply for that promotion, even if you don't think you're qualified. Learn that new skill, even if you don't think you're going to be using it in a while, or it's not a value, if it's a value to the marketplace. When in doubt, ask the girl out, ask the guy out. The worst they could say is no. No hurts, but it's a lot better than dealing with regrets. So I hope this has been helpful. If you liked this and kind of our other topics that we've been talking about in value investing in your car, let me know in the comments below what you thought about this video. Subscribe, like, love, share, whether you're watching this on the blog, on YouTube, or I actually got a comment the other day, and my team and I have been working on this, getting a podcast, making this a podcast, which we're working on now. So make sure to like, love, share, comment below, and I will talk to you again next time. Thanks. Bye.